running through my mind, taking me to yesterday and the love I left behind. And sometimes at night when I can't sleep, I wake and realize Minnesota nights and northern lights keep running through my mind.
Hi everybody, this is Larry up in Brandon, Minnesota. I want to do this video on how to correctly plant the self-watering rain gutter grow system. Okay, I'm going to go over some things here. I want to explain about capillary action, different kinds of potting mixes that you can use, making your own potting mix, amendments that you're going to put in the potting mix like garden lime, epsom salts, different things like that. What containers can you use? Can you use 5-gallon buckets? Can you use totes? Can you even use grow bags? Can you put any kind of a fertilizer in the rain gutter itself, like a Miracle Grow? Can you add that to the rain gutter water? Can you add, like compost tea? And I want to go over some of those different things. Let's start with capillary action, okay? First of all, let's understand that you have to use a potting mix, okay? Potting mix and potting soil are totally different. Potting soil's got dirt in it. We do not want dirt. Potting mix has primarily sphagnum peat moss, perlite, some composted wood products, and your fertilizer. And what I mean by capillary action is, or a wicking action is, when you plant it and this net cup that we're going to use that sets down in the trough of the rain gutter, it wicks the water up into the potting mix and keeps it fully watered at all the time. Hot days, the plants use more water, it'll suck more up. Cooler, overcast days, it won't. That's what your capillary action is. So we want to understand that we don't want to use potting soil. We want to use potting mix. And okay, there's different ones. You could use Miracle Grow potting mix, which works great for a lot of people. I got some great stuff locally. I think it was called Majestic Earth for about half the price. It did as well or even better than Miracle Grow. Or you can make your own. If you're going to just build one unit, you want to try one unit out, I would say go with some commercial potting mix like a Miracle Grow or a similar one, and then you can add amendments to that and plant it. And then if you expand, like I've got 13 rain gutter systems, we're talking 100 and some buckets, okay? Then it makes more sense for me to buy the peat moss separately and perlite and mix up my own rather than commercial. But if you're just going to build one unit, you might be smarter just to get some commercial potting mixes, okay? As far as making your own, I'll put a link below the video here to how to make your own inexpensive potting mix. Okay, I did a complete video on that. That'll show you how to make your own if you do want to do more. Let's go over different containers that you can use. Standard, most of the people that have built my system, and me included, I use the 5-gallon plastic food grade buckets, which you can get at like Walmart, bakery, and different places like that. Some people use like the kitty litter square ones that kitty litter comes in. They work great too. You can use plastic totes, okay? And I'll go into that as we explain exactly how to, plant it. One of the things I want to cover too is reusing potting mix. Okay, after I planted this year, what do I do next year? Can I replant it? Okay, and so let's start at the very beginning. Okay, say you want to plant in the 5-gallon buckets. We'll go with that, and you're going to use a commercial potting mix like Miracle Grow. Okay. What you want to do is mix up some of the potting mix. I like to take a little bit like the Miracle Grow in a little bucket and get it nice and moist. So you can take that net cup, which protrudes out of the bottom of the bucket, and pack that very, very tight, as tight as you can, and then insert that in the bottom of the bucket. And now what works really good for like these, these cement blocks that got like 3 holes in, it works great for something to set your bucket on and work on this. I flip one of those blocks on its side, and then I have that net cup protrude down in it after I packed it. Now as you add your potting mix, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to add a couple inches. Take a little watering can or a garden hose and spray it and get it wet. Put some more in, spray it. When you get about 3/4 full, take a cup of good garden lime, dolomite if you can find it, okay? And put that in and mix that in the dry before you wet it. So it mix up some potting mix, put some of the potting mix in there, and mix that cup of dolomite in there. You want this calcium in there, okay? And the reason for that is because you'll get blossom end rot, the black thing that you get on the bottom of tomatoes or peppers, or even on watermelons and squash and different things, if they don't have, because your potting mix doesn't have calcium and magnesium in. So we want to supplement that. That's what I'm talking about, the amendments. Okay? Once you put that cup in, fill it up a little bit more, and then I take a good handful of epsom salts, which is magnesium, which is also a great amendment, great growing medium, and I put a handful of that in the bucket and mix it up. Fill it on up. When you're almost to the top, then make a little hole and plant your transplant, whether it's tomato plant or whatever, or fill it on up, and if you're going to plant seeds, plant it like you would it says right on the instructions, 1 inch apart, 2 inch apart, whatever it says, plant it the same way. What I do with some of as far as mulching, some people ask me, do I mulch? Well, especially I mulch if I'm going to make my own potting mix, because there might be some weed seed in there, and weeds want to come up in the bucket. So what I do is the top 1 or 2 inches, I'll put some good composted or wood chips, buy a bag of wood chips, and put that on top. Holds the moisture in and also keeps any weeds down. And you can cover this if you want. You can put a plastic, even the plastic from the bag that the potting mix comes in, you can cover it and cut a little slit and plant it right in there so it keeps that covered. It's not necessary, but you can do that, okay? That is how you're going to do your regular, your regular potting mix. If you want to make your own, you can watch the video on that, and you'll do it the same way. The potting mix is already. As far as containers, other containers, plastic totes. I like a medium-sized 18-quart plastic tote. Place your net cups equally in the bottom. Drill 2 holes and place them about 1 foot apart. They're going to be equally in the bottom, and you can set that plastic tote on the okay, of course you're going to be doubling up. You got about twice the volume, so I would double the garden and the Epsom salts and the lime. I'd use about 2 cups of lime, because you got about twice the volume, and plant that the same way. Let's see, as far as once you've planted those, okay, here's the key. You wet it all the way up as you're planting and doing the mix. Take your watering can and gently water the top until you see water dripping out the net cup in the bottom into the rain gutter. This way that you know for sure that you've started the capillary action. Now you know that as the plant calls for water, it's going to replenish itself. If you don't do that, it can take a few days and quite a while for it to wick all the way up from that net cup. So to get a head start on it, water it well from the top until water's dripping out. Now you know all the potting mix is saturated all the way through and will keep itself replenished all the time. Okay? Okay, as far as adding liquid fertilizer, like Miracle Grow or an organic one or compost tea or anything, the rain gutter itself holds approximately 5 gallons of water. So let's say you plant everything fine, it starts off, and you see that you're maybe getting a little yellowing of leaves, you think that maybe it's a little nutrient deficient, especially if you're making your own with compost. Compost can vary from one to the other. One thing you can do, just to give a little shot in the arm, is to mix up. The Miracle-Gro comes with a little scoop, and that little scoop usually is for 1 gallon of water. So I'll take like 5 scoops of that, mix it up in a little cup or something, and with water until it's dissolved, and you can pour that in the rain gutter. Now that's perfect for the 5 gallons. You'll be surprised how it will brighten, green up things real fast. Compost tea is something I did too. Make some compost tea, that's phenomenal. A good shot for it. Or an organic, you can do that too. That works, great. Okay, I had some questions about replanting next year. Okay, say you've grown everything for the year, you're all done. You can either dump all the buckets out and remix it up and redo it that way, or what you can do is take a cup of lime, because you've used a lot of that up, and remove a little of the potting mix out of the bucket, and put a cup of lime back in, mix it in, put some Epsom salts, a good handful of Epsom salts put in there, and then towards the top, the very outer ring, put in a cup and a half of like 10-10-10 fertilizer, and just put it around the edge and barely cover it with a little potting mix, because you don't have any of the compost has been used up, the potting mix fertilizer has been used up. This way you can add to it and do it that way. That way you can replant it. The one nice thing is with this, if you do get, let's say, a blight, tomato blight, one of your tomatoes, then don't use that bucket and that potting mix for tomatoes the following year, okay? Just like if you have blight in your garden, you usually can't plant for quite a few years tomatoes back in that spot. The one nice thing about the rain gutter system is you can change that out. I typically run a lot of my tomatoes in the same trough. If I have any problems, then I can move it out of there. Use that potting mix. You don't have to throw it away, but use it for something that the blight's not going to affect if you're going to replant it, okay? Like carrots or potatoes or green beans or something that the tomato blight's not going to affect. Then you can use that same potting mix, but just don't replant a tomato in there if you did have some blight or something like that. That should cover quite a bit of it. I'll do another video up here on how to shut it down in the fall, which really isn't a whole lot. It's maybe I won't even do a video on it. It's pretty simple. I just disconnect everything, drain my rain gutters out, flip them upside down for the winter, and they're just fine. Like I said, you can leave. I've even left my buckets set in the rain gutters all year long and dealt with it in the spring. Or you can dump out the potting mix and remix it. So if you have any questions, all the links will be underneath. I'll put links to the previous videos on how to build the system and understanding the rain gutters grow system. I'll put also the links underneath of where to get the parts to build it, the whole shooting match. And one other thing I wanted to cover is if you're going to make your own potting mix, perlite, I get it from, if you go to Home Depot online, their website, you can buy it. If you buy $45 worth, you get 3 huge bags of it, and they'll ship it, free shipping right to your house. I found that if you're going to make your own potting mix, buying it that way is much, much cheaper. Don't go buy those little bags of perlite in the store. They'll charge you a fortune. Get it on, and I'll put a link underneath for that too. Okay? That should cover a lot of it. If there's something I missed, just message me or post a question. I'll try to answer it for you. This is Larry up in Brandon, Minnesota. Ciao.